Amad Diallo to be given a special new role next season. Shea Lacey the plan. Manchester United know how talented that young boy is. Manchester United working on transfer targets, and a few transfer targets today that we haven't been linked to in a midfielder that could be someone United might sign in the summer. But before we get into the transfer news and before we get into other news and other stories, we've got to talk about a news report that's been coming out a lot, which I believe is just simply not true. I've been told that it's not true from people that I trust. Romano's not really said anything on it. And this Gareth Southgate is the leading contender to replace Ten Hag at Man United if the Dutchman is sacked. Okay, and I feel like, and maybe this is just me, and there's lots of reports and there's lots of journalists saying this. Mark Ogden was going on about it yesterday. I feel like Man United have beat Liverpool. There's a bit of positivity, and then they think, let's go and say that Ten Hag's going to be sacked and that Southgate's the leading contender to replace Eric Ten Hag. La-di-da, get that negativity back online because negativity generates clicks. And then there's reports coming out from Mark Ogden that the players, have communicated that they would like Southgate and la-di-da. I'm like, if the players are on international duty, why have they communicated to Ratcliffe that they like Southgate? And I think this Gareth Southgate to Man United news needs to be ignored. I think Ineos would like Gareth Southgate. They respect him, but he's not in the line to have the Man United job. They've not made a decision on Ten Hag. There's a likely chance that Ten Hag stays. De Zerbi, Amorim, and Graham Potter, from what I've been told, are three genuine candidates. A lot of the other names we're linked with aren't genuine candidates. And from what I was told and from what Romano has said, there's nothing in this Gareth Southgate to Man United thing. Just because Ineos like and respect the guy doesn't mean they think he's good for the United job. For me, I think it's, we've beat Liverpool. We need some negativity. Let's go on about Gareth Southgate. I can see Gareth Southgate to Man United happening. It's not going to happen. Yes, Dan Ashworth gets on with Southgate. Yes, Jim Ratcliffe gets on with Southgate, but he's not going to become the next Manchester United manager. For me, it is false news. Now, I want to get into more interesting news. I want to get into more exciting news in general, and I do apologise if there is some background noise. I'm just kind of recording in a different place. There's people all around, and I'm just trying to find a quiet zone to record. But I do want to get into the transfer news. Now, the interesting story coming out by the Disco Mirror is that Manchester United are keeping tabs on Pedro Neto as a potential replacement for Anthony. Pedro Neto is a big improvement on Anthony. I like Pedro Neto more than Anthony, and Pedro Neto would thrive very well in Ten Hag's system. He's a similar style winger to Garnacho. The problem with Pedro Neto is his legs. He's injured. In Ten Hag's style of football, he's going to be even more injured because he does those intense sprints. We talk about Elise being injury prone, but Elise wasn't injured last season. Elise's injuries have been caused more due to bad management rather than Pedro Neto is genuinely quite injury prone compared to Elise, and that puts me off him. I like Pedro Neto. If he's available for 40-50 million, it is a good deal. But when you're hearing 80 million for Pedro Neto as a rumoured price tag, I'd avoid. And I think Elise would probably be my first choice over Pedro Neto, because Pedro Neto is a carry first winger, and we've got that in Marcus Rashford. We've got that in Garnacho. Players that like to carry the ball via dribbling and get up the pitch. And I mean, Pedro Neto gets more assists than goals, but sort of cut in and shoot. Whereas Elise is a pass first winger. He likes to pass the ball, and he's a bit more of a creative outlook. But I think Pedro Neto, I would take. Elise, I would take. Nico Williams, I would take. A lot of players I would take, and he is a significant improvement in Anthony. If we do go for Pedro Neto, I'd be very happy. It just depends on how much we spend on him. My biggest concern with Pedro Neto, way more than Elise, is injuries, because Elise did not have injury issues last season. Now, one player we've not been linked with before today, unless we have, but I don't think we have, is another Wolves player. We're also linked to an under-16 Wolves player as well. So Man United seem to be wanting to do this big raid of Wolves. But United have reportedly identified a £40 million midfielder in João Gomez of Wolves as a potential replacement for Casemiro. I like João Gomez. I think there's a decent player there. Do I think he could be the long-term six for United, long-term replacement for Casemiro? Probably haven't seen enough of him to gauge that yet. I'd have to really look at him and study him more. But do let me know your thoughts on João Gomez down below. Pedro Neto is someone that I think is brilliant. João Gomez is someone I'd have to do a bit more research on. But as I said in my video yesterday, if you didn't watch my video yesterday, do go check it out. It's very obvious that you're not looking at midfielders with Human, Weaver, Fofana and Onana, those most linked, someone that's maybe more physical. And Casemiro could very much be on the way out to Saudi Arabia. Now, another story that's going about, and a player that we've been linked to multiple times. This is definitely one to watch. But it's been said yet again that Man United are front runners to sign Juventus centre-back Bremer and are willing to pay 50 million euros to bring him in. Juventus will only consider offers of 60 million euros. I wouldn't spend 60 million euros on Bremer. I like Bremer. He's a decent centre-back, but right centre-back options, there's better fish in the sea. If he's going to be 50 million pounds, I think we can get better players for 50 million pounds. I'd rather spend the extra 10 million on Branthwaite. Would I be mad if we signed Bremer? No. Is he my top 5? No. Is he a decent centre-back? Yes. 40 million. Am I going to be mad? No. 50 million. I'd rather go and spend the extra 10 million and get Branthwaite for 60 million. But this is definitely one to watch. Obviously, it's Italian media, and Italian media just love to come out with loads of reports about United because it gets clicks, and there's a lot of, players that will be linked to United that they will claim we're really interested in, and then we're actually not. I mean, we were generally interested in Kim Min-jae, we were generally interested in Amrabat last summer, but Italian media do like to take the mick and wind you up a bit. They'll link us to Kvaratskhelia, Heller and Leao and people, and you have to take it with a pinch of salt, but it has come out from decent outlets and multiple sources of information that this is definitely one that we're watching. We've got 5 or 6 right centre backs on our list. I don't know which one we're going to go for, but this is definitely one we're watching. Now, interesting thing to remember is this, that Sir Jim Ratcliffe wants to end Man United's policy of spending extortionate fees on star names. Jim Ratcliffe, remember, he came out in his interview and said, I don't want Mbappe, I don't want Bellingham, I want to find the next Mbappe, I want to find the next Bellingham. That's what Ratcliffe's known for doing. He wants to find the next big star at Manchester United, and I like that. No more getting 30-year-olds on high wages, on crazy money. Why don't we get players for 2027? Let's have this goal of winning the league in 2027. Let's get players. Let's build that league winning side for 2027. Jared Branthwaite can be developed into a great player entering his prime. Todibo will be in his prime. Elise will be entering his prime. These young players that can suit the way the manager wants to play, can suit the philosophy of the club, that are taking a step up like Liverpool got with Southampton, Mane and Van Dijk, Robertson, Hull. All these players taking a step up to Man United, playing good football in this sustainable system of young players. Under Ten Hag, we've made 16 signings, 10 of which were loans or over 30s. And that's something you've got to keep an eye on. And I like that Jim Ratcliffe's vision is very much, let's stop spending ridiculous money on big star names. Let's stop buying star names. It's not worked for us. Let's think of the long-term strategy. Let's think of the team. Instead of spending 80 million on a right wing, when we need a right wing and a centre back, make sure we split that 80 million between right wing and centre back, is how Jim Ratcliffe would probably phrase it. Now, interestingly, this was said that Erik ten Hag is involved in discussions regarding the squad and planning for the summer transfer market, as Jim Ratcliffe and Brailsford want him to have maximum impact, which is interesting because he, again, same journalist that's linking us to Southgate. But I feel like Romano and Ornstein have said there's no indication that Ten Hag's been sacked or decisions been made yet. Indications are looking more like Ten Hag staying, but they said that with Ollie, and Ollie was ultimately sacked. They're saying nothing has gone on right now. But there now are a lot of reports that, Erik ten Hag is involved in planning for next season, and the way that Ian's have been acting suggests that Erik ten Hag will be here next season, but no decisions have been made. As I said, I want Erik ten Hag to be given one more year. I was a massive fan of him at Ajax and the football he played at Ajax. I genuinely believe there's a good manager there, and I think when you look at the lack of legs in midfield, when you look at a lot of issues at United, he just needs the squad, he needs the sustainability, he needs the environment and help to do that. Yes, he's getting things wrong. Only Sheffield United have conceded more shots than us this season. That is concerning, but for the most part, I'm quite happy with Erik ten Hag. But Erik ten Hag being given maximum input in the summer transfer window, not a good idea. 85 million Anthony, 60 million amount. I want ten Hag to have an input on the summer window, but I don't want ten Hag to have maximum input. I don't want him to be choosing to spend 85 million on Anthony again. But I don't think he will, because we're getting proper recruitment people in, Dan Ashworth and Omar Barada, for a reason. In terms of injury boost, it was said that Manchester United are hopeful of having Alessandro Martinez available for their trip for Brentford 30th, and United gave permission for him to join up with Argentina ahead of the international break. He's just training there ahead of the break. Luke Shaw's training with England. Martinez is training with Argentina ahead of the international break. And interestingly, Mount, Wan-Bissaka, Martinez, Hoyland and Maguire, all of them bar Martinez was actually back for the Liverpool game, but those players are 100% expected back after the international break, with Luke Shaw expected back in April. He's obviously at St James's Park. Can't wait to have Luke Shaw and Martinez back, because when we did have all our squad fit for 3 games, we did win those 3 games, and Shaw's expected back in April. So going into our final stories, it was said that Shea Lacey is set to sign his first professional contract in a few weeks. He'll be turning 17. As expected, Shea Lacey is probably arguably the best talent in the Man United academy, but he has been injured this season, so we've really not been able to see it. But it's been reported by many people that he will sign his first professional contract when he turns 17 on April 14th. Despite his injury this season, he's one of the biggest talents this club has produced for years. I've been talking about Kobbie Mainoo for 2 years. I've been talking about Garnacho for 2 years. But Shea Lacey's the next one. Give it 2 years. If he stays fit, if he stays on track, Shea Lacey for me he's a special talent. The way he keeps the ball, he reminds me of Foden in the academy days. Shea Lacey will be the next big star at Manchester United as well. There are some reports of Graham Potter and De Zerbi, but I'll speak about that in my video later tonight. And then going into the last story, it was said by the Muppeteers that Amad Diallo could come into the centre mid and attacking midfield position, hence the potential deal for Elise, and that could be a suggestion that actually Ten Hag does have plans for Amad in the long term and does plan to keep him, but maybe sees Elise and Garnacho as right wingers. Now, one thing you got to notice, and one reason maybe Ten Hag hasn't been playing Amad, despite Amad probably deserving to play for Forster and Anthony, is because Forster and Anthony have a little bit more pace and a little bit more carry first wingers, which is what Ten Hag wants, more transition based players, whereas Amad Diallo is tidy, he likes to come central. I think Amad Diallo in Ten Hag's system would be better in central areas, but Ten Hag likes his wingers really wide, so he probably would be best as an attacking midfield. So it's interesting to see how that pans out. Will Amad be sold in the summer? Will Amad, now he's got that goal, have a big role in Man United's future? Hopefully he does. Please do hit that like button. Of course, subscribe down below for new. Thank you for watching. Bye.